Welcome to episode 289 of the Various and Sundry podcast. I am your host, Matt Harmon, joined live from the Vault Studio from the beautiful campus of Grace College and Grace Theological Seminary by my good friend, my colleague, my co-host, and the man who is ready for his first child to be born. He's eager, he's excited. John Scott Sloat.
We are ready. I mean,
midway through.
Yeah, we're a little
trimester?
over halfway through the pregnancy at this point. So approaching November. You know, we're looking forward toward right about the middle of November.
Yeah. So, well, first I think we should say it's great to be back.
We're in person
in the studio.
Yes.
This is the first time in I'm guessing like 2 months.
I think that's right. Yeah. How's the vision? Is it returning?
It is. So field of vision is basically back. Still a small little gas bubble floating around in there, which is wild.
Yeah.
A little nitrous oxide floating in there.
And that will just dissipate on its own.
Yes. It is in the process of dissipating now.
Okay.
I think by the end of the week. I am optimistic that by the next episode,
wow,
I will be gas bubble free.
Okay. And that means you can get on a plane. You can do lots of those sorts of things.
That means I can get on a plane. I'm still on some activity restrictions. Like I can't exercise really or anything like that. I'm supposed to be cautious about bending over and, leaning over, that kind of thing, which I think is more just healing for the eye in general. So hopefully in my next appointment, so that'll be like in 3.5 weeks, they'll give me some clearance to start exercising again.
Nice.
So, which it's not like I'm this like massive exercise freak, but like
you're a runner though. You hit the treadmill at the Y. Right?
I don't run anymore. I use the elliptical. The pounding on the knees is too much. But like I did lift relatively consistently 2 or 3 times a week, and that's a no-go right now. And I can't do anything like play pickleball or anything like that. So so I'll be ready for that resumption of activity.
Yeah,
that will be good. My hope is now, and I think it's realistic, that I'll essentially be fully healed by the start of the school year.
Perfect.
You'll
be ready to teach Greek 1, right?
That's right, ready to teach Greek 1, which I could teach with one eye. I could teach Greek 1 with one eye if I had to. I prefer not to.
Yeah.
But
you could teach now.
I could. Yeah.
Are you able to go back full tilt into writing at the moment, or will that come in?
See, this week is about the first week where my vision is back to the point where I think I can probably not quite go full tilt, but probably like 75-80%.
And have you been in touch with publishers to like let them know, like, hey, I've had to slow down a little bit? Or do they not care? Are they cold, heartless individuals? They are not
cold, heartless. No, they are aware of the situation. Yes. So yeah. One thing that is a source of comfort is I'm actually due for a sabbatical semester, not this upcoming school year, but the following school year. So the 26-27 school year, Lord willing. I'll have 1 semester of sabbatical in there.
And when does Luke Acts get done?
So I'm like halfway through Luke 24.
On a first pass?
Yeah,
on a final pass?
No, first pass. So I'm hoping to send that in sometime next year.
For Luke?
For Luke. Oh, just Luke. Goodness.
Okay.
I mean, that by itself is going to be 2 volumes.
Luke by itself?
Yes.
Really? I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
Huh. I remember when you signed that contract.
Yeah. I mean, to put it in perspective, it's going to end up being about double the size of my Philippians commentary.
1 volume will be double the size of the Philippians commentary.
No,
the whole volume.
The whole thing.
Okay.
But that's beyond what they want to put in 1 volume. So it'll be split into 2.
Nice.
Yeah. So it's the largest thing I've ever written to this point.
Okay. How many words are we at right now, partway through Luke 24?
328,000.
Wow.
Philippians was like 168, I think.
Okay.
Galatians was like 220. somewhere around there.
And we're just the first pass.
Yeah.
And the first pass, correct me if I'm wrong, is mostly you working with some commentaries, working in the Greek mostly, getting your own thoughts down, and then you'll go back and really dive in with some journal articles, more commentaries. Is that the sense I get?
First pass, I try to stay out of the commentaries as much as possible.
Okay.
Only working with essentially primary sources,
BDAG,
lexicons, reference works, that kind of thing. Occasionally dipping into some commentaries if I'm like, okay, I think I'm a little stuck here, or there's probably more to this than I'm realizing, or there's probably a range of views here.
What are the 3 views on this path?
I should probably check some commentaries to get a sense of where that stands. So I haven't written the intro yet. So I think it'll come in around 300 and somewhere between 340 and 350. 340,000, 350,000 words.
It's a lot of words.
It is. So
if you went back to your high school self and told your high school self that you were going to publish books one day, what would your high school self have said?
I don't think I would have been shocked.
Really?
I don't think I would have been shocked. I think I might have been I don't think I would have been shocked.
Okay.
Mildly surprised,
but
not shocked.
Okay.
So, I think that's probably fair.
We need to follow. Okay,
I want to follow up on the pregnancy stuff.
Oh, yes. I am not pregnant. My wife is.
Yes. I appreciate you clarifying that. Since it's impossible for you to be pregnant.
That's correct.
Has your wife had any of the sort of, stereotypical like cravings in this pregnancy?
Yes, but not as strange as I've heard of.
Okay.
So it's been more like we are not fruit buyers. We do not buy a lot of fruit for our house.
Okay.
And she has been craving fruit.
Interesting.
So that's not a weird craving necessarily,
No.
but it's definitely out of the norm for us.
Gotcha. Okay.
I think another eating thing is she's hungrier earlier in the day.
Yeah.
And not as hungry later in the day. So like breakfast and lunch are big meals for her. And then dinner, she's just generally not hungry.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah. Yeah, I know when Kate was pregnant with our oldest, she went through a phase where she had a craving for Reuben sandwiches. And she likes Reuben. So it wasn't like anything that was like, oh, I've never had this before, I want this. But she had this I'm guessing it was probably like 3 weeks where she was just like, I want Reuben sandwiches. So she started buying the stuff to prepare them herself. And then one day she opened the refrigerator and smelled pulled the ingredients out and smelled them. And it was like,
done.
And
no more.
There was a
to this day, or is she
a violent physical response that came?
Has she picked back up?
She's picked back up. I mean, we're
well
28
past,
years removed from that. So but if you'd like to contact the show and get some pregnancy advice, find out more about my writing process,
or your eye,
hit us up on X at VNSPod. You can email the show, variousandsunderpodcast@gmail.com. You can find us on Facebook and on YouTube, and we would love for you to leave a 5-star rating. We have not checked that in the last week. At least I haven't. Have you checked that?
On Apple Pod?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. So anyway, and tell a friend. Why not just tell a friend? That would work too. But you could do both. This is not an either-or situation.
Tell a stranger for all I care. Tell somebody.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we picked up a listener on the from the guy who's doing our landscaping.
Oh, did we?
Yeah. Yeah. He's a good dude. Good dude. So, all right, John, let's talk a little sports. We've reached the All-Star break, correct?
Yes, All-Star break has begun.
And where do the Metropolitans stand at this point?
They're in, I believe, first place or tied for first place. Something like that. They have three guys going to the All-Star game.
Okay. Any participating in the home run derby? Because Pete Alonso for the last few years has been kind of a staple of that.
Yeah, he did not participate last year, and I think he's past that.
Okay.
So I don't believe he's participating anymore. So I don't believe we have anybody participating in it this year.
Okay. All right. And so overall, are you pleased with where the Mets stand as they enter the All-Star break?
Yeah, we're a half game back of the Phillies, so that's where we're
in
at
the
right
East.
Now. In the East, yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Overall, I'm pleased.
Okay.
We had a lot of injuries to our pitchers, and as of yesterday, so we're at full strength with the rotation we thought we'd have at the start of the year.
Okay. And nice to get a few days of rest here with the
yes.
With the All-Star break.
We'll have Sean Manaea, Kodai Senga, David Peterson. There's a number of starters there that are very good. So hopefully they persist through the season.
All right.
So looking forward to it. The second half should be. I guess we're in the second half technically, but should be good. I probably won't watch the All-Star game.
So are they still doing? For a while, they were doing like whichever league won it got home field advantage in the World Series.
That's a great question. I don't think they do that anymore.
Are they?
No, I think it's based on record.
They were trying to make it mean something.
Right. Well, and you hear stories from like the 80s where like the head of the National League would come into the locker room and said, that the All-Star game goes, men, we do not lose to the American League.
Yeah.
And I want you to go out there and I want you to, win the game.
Very different era.
Yes. Now it's more like, hey, everybody don't go out and get hurt.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, the Major League Baseball All-Star game used to have some juice to it. Like people were excited about it, interested in it. And I think the players, again, we're talking more like, 30 years ago, right? 30, 40 years ago.
Maybe even more than 30. Because even in the – I remember some exciting games with Cal Ripken in the All-Star game. I think it was Ruben Tejada robbed Alex Rodriguez of a home run. I think it was –
That's past the point where I was paying attention to baseball, really. But
always good to see Alex Rodriguez's feelings hurt.
And then the same things happen with the NBA, where the All-Star game used to mean more – to the guys, and now it means essentially nothing. Though I'll give credit to the NBA; they're at least trying some different things to get the competitive.
Now, one thing that they're doing at the All-Star game is they're doing the automatic balls and strikes system for the All-Star game this year.
So no home plate. Well, home plate umpire just for outs, right? Like plays the plate basically, or
so he still calls balls and strikes, but there's a certain number of challenges the batter can have, the pitcher can have, and the catcher have. The pitcher and catcher share.
Okay.
And then the batter can challenge a strike call. And so they tap the top of their head.
Like a shot clock violation in basketball.
Basically.
Or an ineligible player downfield in football.
And it's basically like it's tennis. It's like a tennis challenge where they kind of bring up something similar and they show where the ball goes and where it is in relationship to the strike zone.
Okay.
And it works pretty well. It worked great in spring training.
Do you think there'll come a point where they're just like, let's no longer have umpires actually calling balls and strikes and just turn it like they'll call plays to plate and that kind of thing, but they won't call balls and strikes. Do you think we'll get there?
No, not anytime soon. I think they'll do the hey, you can challenge this call.
Okay.
I just don't think we're there with the automatic balls and strikes.
Because that hasn't happened. I mean, tennis has had this system for a long time now.
Oh, yeah.
And they still have human line judges. And, so that'd be interesting.
It adds a dimension of strategy to the game because you only get so many balls and strikes challenges a game.
For the game, okay.
For the team. And
so your team might get, what, 3?
Maybe. I don't know what it'll – but it adds element of strategy, and I think that's interesting because, my goodness, the bases are loaded in the first inning and there's a called 3 strike that you're pretty sure was off the plate. However, it's the first inning.
Yes.
Do you really want to burn that in the first inning?
Yeah.
But the bases were loaded.
Right.
And maybe this, would have given you another bite at the apple. If it would have been a walk, probably you challenge it. But if it's just ball 2.
Yep. I mean, you see that in the NBA, coaches having to strategize like how I
NFL.
We have got to avoid where college basketball has gotten, and even college football. Like, I don't know. There's just too much of it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's not designed. These instant replay sort of systems were originally intended to, let's make sure we avoid the catastrophically bad call.
Oh, yeah.
That an official misses. And now we've got it where it's like, anyway, I'm about to go on an instant replay rant with more of football.
The same is true for baseball, right? I mean,
but that's more objective with the balls and strikes.
With the balls and strikes,
that's a computerized thing, and so
that's correct.
There's no judgment involved by a human being looking at a replay monitor and going, did that happen or did that not?
Correct. But it's more like the NFL or college basketball, college football with safe and out calls. And so I was watching the Mets game over the weekend, and Bobby Witt Jr. for the Kansas City Royals goes to steal second and is safe by a foot, right? Mm-hmm. However, Francisco Lindor keeps the tag on him, and the Mets challenge, and all of a sudden they deemed that there was a time when his torso was over the bag but off the bag.
Yeah.
I personally did not think it was clear that it was off the bag. They called him out in the 9th inning.
And this is where I think, again, instant replay has gone beyond its original purview in terms of
I agree.
You see it in football. Clear or indisputable evidence. And the number of calls I'm like, that's incredibly disputable. That might be the right call-ish, but it's not clear.
It might be a 60-40.
That's a 60-40. That's not we're not talking like in a criminal trial where it's like reasonable doubt. Mm-hmm. We're talking like, no, civil trial where it's like, preponderance of evidence.
Preponderance of evidence, yes, one of my favorite words, yes, phrases.
Yeah. So anyway.
Do you want to talk about Wimbledon a little bit?
I mean, I watched a little bit of it. So we had an American woman reach the finals, and then she got skunked.
Okay.
So actually, I did want to touch on this. This is a more philosophical question based on this. She got beat 6-0, 6-0, which
that's tough.
So here's the question: rooting for your teams. Let's go back to your Knicks.
Yeah.
Would you rather them lose like they did in the conference finals, close, competitive, hard-fought loss to the Pacers? Or would you rather them win that, get to the NBA Finals, and get swept and blown out in every game, where it's just where it's embarrassing?
Probably the NBA championship. Yeah.
You'd rather them get to the finals and get
swept.
Waxed.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
I probably would.
I think that's a tough call sometimes.
Mm-hmm. I understand why it's a tough call, but I would always prefer to win one more game.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, this debate comes up among Ohio State fans in one sense. And actually it also comes up in discussions of like, and again, the LeBron stuff. Well, he's got this record of, he has a losing record in the finals. Okay. Fair. But isn't it like –
it's impressive that he got there.
Maybe it's impressive that he got there with teams that really didn't belong there, but he –
And probably his most impressive run was when he took the Cavs against the Spurs. There was nobody on that team.
Yeah. Yeah. So, anyway.
Yeah.
I was just curious about your thoughts on that. All right, John, we need to move on to our main topic for the day.
We sure do.
And it's related, I suppose. It's a tech topic, We were talking about instant replay.
Yeah.
Maybe we need AI.
Maybe we need AI in instant replay.
There you go. Gosh, no. So we're going to talk about
it's coming. You know it's
yeah,
coming.
it is. We're going to talk about AI and whether – so in one sense, we're going to use an article as a launching point. 4 questions pastors should ask before using AI by Noah Senthal. I think that's how you pronounce his name. It was posted on the Gospel Coalition. But our conversation is going to go broader than that. And we actually the two of us were part of a panel discussion here on campus back in, was that April maybe? April or March?
It was cold. It might have been March.
Okay. A panel discussion. You were moderating a discussion with
no one actually wants my opinion. They just want me to get others' opinions.
With myself and a few other of our faculty.
Mm-hmm.
It was broadly it was about preaching, but there were some questions that came up about AI and whether we should be using it or not and that kind of thing. So, yeah, let's. Here's what I'll do, just so we make sure we hit on this. The 4 questions that this author suggests a pastor should ask. Number 1, what are the God-given responsibilities of the pastoral office? Number 2, what kind of pastoral formation is taking place? Number 3, does using AI undermine pastoral authority and the church's credibility? And number 4, what precedent is being set for the next generation of pastors? Which I think all those are good, solid questions. But I want to start with that first one and kind of branch out from there. What are the God-given responsibilities of the pastoral office? I think too often in some of these discussions about AI, we stay too much on the sort of the granular detail and don't think more broadly, more philosophically, more theologically about, especially when it comes to a pastor, like what is a pastor supposed to be doing? What is a pastor called to do? And I do think asking that question can help us think through to what extent and in what ways one might be able to use AI legitimately and what ways one should not do so. What do you think about that?
What do I think the role of a pastor is?
Well, how do you think that helps us think through this question of should a pastor use AI, and if so, how? Like, how does understanding the biblical description of here's what the role of a pastor is?
Yeah. So I was listening to a podcast. I promise this will relate. I was listening to a podcast this last week, and on it, this guy says, okay, so you go out and you have a major fight with your wife. You're in the wrong. And you go to ChatGPT and you say, please craft an apology to my wife for what I did here, and this is what I did. Mm-hmm. And it crafts an apology, and you memorize it. You go to your wife, and you apologize with it, and then she asks the question, "Did you get this from ChatGPT?"
Yeah.
You say yes, and I think the apology loses all of its power.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I think this extends to pastors as well. If you go into a counseling session and say, goodness, I got Joe Schmo coming in here. He has all these problems. Let me type all his problems into, even if it's pastor.ai counseling bot,
Yeah.
and you type it in and it gives you the 4 ways that he can, better. And maybe it even includes like, hey, we need to spend some time in prayer. We need to do you need to do X, Y. And not that can't be part of your process of learning and engaging, but if you're just going like, hey, here's these 4 things that my AI pastor bot told me to tell you, and you just said it, I think it loses some of its power. Because you, as their caregiver, as their shepherd, have not spent time in prayer yourself. have not engaged them or potentially even listened.
Yeah.
I think AI is really good at giving us a lot of answers, but it doesn't teach us how to listen at all. And so, how's that for a start?
No, it's good. I think AI can produce some helpful content.
Yes.
But there's way more to there's way more to the pastoral office than just content or producing content. And so I think that, if central to the, you think about central to the pastoral ministry is the ministry of the word and prayer.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously there's there's many applications of that. That doesn't just mean preaching or teaching, That means also that when you're counseling, when you're visiting someone in the hospital, when you're leading a staff meeting or leading an elder meeting or thinking about or reflecting on what areas do we need to grow in as a church, that the word and prayer are the foundation and the guiding force of that. And I think that AI is not well suited for that. There's also an element of AI isn't wise.
Mm-hmm.
It's not wisdom. It can produce information. It can produce content, but it's not wise. Yeah. When you think about wisdom as the ability to rightly apply the right kind of information, experience, and insight, and even, quite frankly, intuition, instinct kind of thing in a situation. AI can't do that for you.
Correct. And maybe this is not the right time to make this turn, I do think there's a lot of ways that AI can help pastors.
Yeah, I do think I am not saying a pastor should never in any way use anything related to AI. Not saying that at all.
So I know for myself, now I'm not a pastor, but I imagine I have some of the same problems pastors do, right? I get 1 million emails, and I have AI help me process those emails. Really, really helpful. Literally, I have an AI that sorts my emails into various folders based on, did this come from a foundation? Did this come from a vice president at Grace? Did this come from somebody within Grace? Did this come from a member of my advancement team at Grace? Did this come from an outside person that I need to respond to? And so I have them sort those emails automatically for me.
Okay.
I will also have them, depending on the email, write some of them on my behalf. So particularly follow-up emails, if I send somebody an email and I don't hear back from them in 2 or 3 days, AI will write a response for me and it'll follow up. I think pastors could use AI in that manner, and it could be really helpful. Now, I would not write a grieving widow about the loss of her husband and the funeral service you're preparing with AI in that email.
Yeah.
Right? I would craft that myself.
Yeah.
I know pastors' schedules are pretty intense. I actually use scheduling, AI for scheduling, and so it actually takes my task list and inserts it on my calendar at various points. I think all of those are fine ways to use AI. Yeah. They're on the periphery, and they enable you to do the work you actually need to be doing.
Right.
So do you agree with that? Do you disagree?
Yeah, I have no issue with that with pastors using that. And I think most people would say, yeah, that's fine. I have no issue with that.
Yeah.
I think where the rub comes in is when a pastor is preparing to preach or to teach or is presenting content, I think that's where it gets muddy quickly.
Well, I don't even think muddy. So I know when I was coming up in seminary, you were there, but the idea is that the passage needs to transform you,
Right.
and maybe you see that passage in a fresh way, and as it transforms you, it's going to give you some pathos, right? It's going to give you some passion for the text.
Yep.
I don't see how that's necessarily possible with AI.
Yeah.
If
100%.
if AI is going to write the sermon for you, if it's going to write the blog post for you, if it's going to write now, if you wanted to write your church's weekly newsletter about events going on, I really don't have a problem with it. But when it's meant for the care of souls, I think we need some real blood, sweat, and tears in the sermon, in the counseling room,
Yes.
in the hospital visit.
Well, and I think that if you're using AI to essentially write the sermon for you, then you've become nothing more than a version of a news anchor who's reading off a teleprompter.
Yeah.
You're just conveying information, and that is simply like that is one part of the preaching task, conveying information, but it's far from the totality of what the task of preaching is. And I think that what that often misses is, like you said, it's the transformational element that happens in the life of the preacher as they wrestle with the text themselves. And this is where even why, we talked earlier in the show about my process for writing commentary. This is why that's why I stay away from the commentaries when I'm writing the commentary until
You
a
don't want to
later
be
stage.
influenced.
I want to have my own direct engagement with the text. Now, I get it. I've been shaped by a lot of people and a lot of things I've read already that, I'm not always immediately conscious of in the moment. True.
Which is why we need more than just you writing commentaries.
Yes.
Right? That's why we need people at a variety of seminaries writing on the same book of the Bible.
Sure.
Yeah.
But, I think that, I don't know how to say this without it sounding a little arrogant. I think by my own direct engagement with the text, there's the potential for me to see things in ways that others haven't, or at least to maybe articulate those things in ways that are at least different and might be helpful to some. But if I've just read the commentaries and then dive in, I've got Doug Moo and Greg Beale and Don Carson and whoever else. I have their words floating in my brain, and then I'm not. There's another layer of between me and the text, and so that's something that I want to be cautious about. And so even more so with AI. I mean, and here's where I would add a general admonition. You need to be cautious about the content and information that AI gives you, because it's often wrong, and it will sometimes make things up. Like I've played with this myself in terms of, I've written enough books where you can ask, ChatGPT or Grok and basically ask it, what does what does Matthew S. Harmon think about, or summarize Matthew S. Harmon's view on this? And you can get an answer. And you can tell it, be sure to include direct quotes from relevant books. I've seen it make up quotes that don't exist in my books.
Supposedly, that's getting a lot better. Supposedly. I will say one of the troubling things. Now I'm going to flip this around a little bit from the pastor to the congregation.
Sure.
One trend that we're seeing AI being used is as therapist. So individuals are going to a ChatGPT or to fill in the blank, and just saying like, "Hey, here are my problems," and the AI is programmed in such a way that it just fills you with affirmations.
Yeah.
It just fills you with affirmations. I don't know if you followed this trend on social media, like, please tell me about myself, be brutally honest, don't sugarcoat. Have you seen that?
I've seen one or two people who've done it and then copy the results or share the results. Yeah.
Yeah. So I did this last week. I did not post results because, that's beyond what I do on social media.
Yeah.
And it was just a lot of positives about me.
Yeah.
Like there was nothing, like they weren't like, well, you have these problems,
Yeah.
It was just filled with affirmations.
Yeah.
And so I do think there is a particular bias in the coding for this that is just going to affirm you again and again
Absolutely.
and again. And I think I think there's a danger in that to the human person to get a quote friend or to get a quote spouse that is going to do nothing but affirm you.
Sure. Yeah.
And so I think people need to be wary of using it as a therapist.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I would say to the human therapist out there, don't just affirm your clients.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. For sure. I mean, it's funny when I look back and I think about some of the more like futuristic movies from 10 years ago, 20 years ago, and they start to project out these sort of like robots that are essentially almost indistinguishable from human beings.
Sure.
And not just in their, sort of how they move and that sort of thing, but like in how they interact with you. And I remember thinking, that just seems like it's, so far-fetched.
Mm-hmm.
And now with AI, it's like, well, that doesn't seem far-fetched anymore. That, 10 years from now, 20 years from now, that people might have, instead of going to their device and engaging with a chat bot, that they'll have a robot that's in their home that they interact with as if it was a human being. But it's programmed with all of those things in terms of like crazy to think about. I mean, I do use AI. You use it more on the – sounds like you use it more on the like efficiency productivity end of
efficiency,
things.
Yep.
The only thing – there's a couple ways I do use it in a content realm. The first is I will sometimes – if there's a subject I don't know a lot about, I might type it into an AI and say, summarize for me what this is and who some of the leading thinkers are about this as a starting point. Now, there's always the caveat of
it has flaws.
It has flaws. I'm just trying to get a general sense. I have used it though. And I think this is maybe something where a pastor could use it. I have used it instead of Bible software at points. When there's now I know there's a verse or there's a couple verses in – this is not directly in Scripture, but like in, say, Tobit. And I can't remember where – I'm doing research on something.
And do you want to explain what Tobit is?
It's a book in the Apocrypha.
Okay.
And I like, there's a story in Tobit about this. Like, where is that? So I'll type it into an AI bot, and lo and behold, it'll show it to me, and then I'll go look it up when it'll say it's in Tobit 2, 1 through whatever, and then I go look it up.
Yeah.
To make sure it's correct. I think that kind of thing can be helpful. Or
Sure.
So I think on the information gathering end of things,
You're basically using it like Google.
essentially. But my admonition is always, 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 always
Verify. We're trying to – I mean, we've had talks with our marketing team about how do we – if somebody types into ChatGPT, what are the best colleges in the state of Indiana? How do we pop up on that list?
Yeah.
Higher than others. And so trying to figure that out. And I imagine pastors are thinking about that too. Like how does my church pop up on that list?
Potentially,
toward the top?
sure. Sure. But as we wrap this up, I just want to go back to, in some ways, the best part of that article that we started with might be that first question. What are the God-given responsibilities of the pastoral office? And the second one, what kind of pastoral formation is taking place? We've all seen this. We've talked about this. Our use of technology, we talked about this last week with the smart glasses, it forms us.
Mm-hmm.
It's not purely neutral.
Sure.
It shapes how we think about the world, how we interact with the world, how we interact with others. And so I think it's helpful for all of us, but pastors especially, like, how is this shaping me? And, this is where I will say one of the challenges we face today, and I feel this in the classroom, the fact that students feel uncomfortable with having to sit and wrestle with something and try to figure it out on their own before just going to Google or now ChatGPT or whatever and trying to get an answer. That I worry that part of the availability of Google and then now hyped up with AI is that students will no longer be capable of sitting and thinking through and wrestling with what is the answer? How do we address this? What is the right way to think about this? Mm-hmm. Because they'll just try to come up with a prompt in ChatGPT or some other AI bot to get them an answer. And that's a disaster for our culture because we need people with the ability to think, reflect, and wrestle with difficult issues and not just assume that that they can go find the answer in AI, or that if they don't get the answer they want, then say, well, I guess we're stuck. I don't know what to do. Like, I'm paralyzed.
Yeah.
So, all right, we will have a link to the article in the show notes. AI is fascinating. Lots of things we could, and I'm sure we'll come back to that topic again in the future. But time now for This Day in Sports History.
All right, This Day in Sports History, July 15th, 2025.
Halfway through July, man.
Yeah, the year's going by quick, isn't it?
Yeah, see, as an academic, July 4th is sort of like the halfway part of the summer for me. Once we get past that, I start thinking, my summer's over. Even though typically I've got like 6 weeks left before
contract picks
things
up.
really start to pick up. So.
But I imagine you always do your vacation in June. You don't do one toward the end of July, do you?
End of July? No.
Or July in general?
Well, this year I was supposed to be in England.
I suppose that's true. All right, July 15th, 1876, baseball's first official no-hitter, George Bradley of the St. Louis Brown Stockings, no-hits the Hartford Dark Blues. Boy, they got a lot better with the names.
They did, yeah. They got stuck on the color of the socks for a long time.
Yeah. Or just colors. Hartford, dark blue.
Yeah. Dark blue. A lovely chartreuse or tea.
Yeah. It's more of a Grey Poupon. 1912, American athlete Jim Thorpe is placed in the top 4 in all 10 events for an Olympic record, 8,413 points to win the decathlon gold medal at the Stockholm Olympic Games. Medal stripped in 1913 because he played pro baseball and was reinstated in 1982.
There you go.
Interesting. 1962, the 49 Tour de France, defending champion Jacques.
It's Jacques.
And Quetil of France claims his third Tour victory.
Anquetil? Anquetil? It's something like that, yeah.
By the way, we're recording on the 14th. You know what today is?
No.
France reminded me of it. It's Bastille Day. Happy Bastille Day, Matt.
Thank you. Keep your head about you.
Yes, please. 2000, world record rugby attendance of 108,874 people in New Zealand to see New Zealand beat Australia 39-35 in Tri-Nations match at Stadium Australia, Sydney. 5 tries each with Andrew Mertens goal kicking 6 is the difference.
108,000.
108,
Okay.
That's a lot of people.
That is.
I assume that's the All Blacks, right? That's New Zealand's rugby team?
I don't know.
Okay. 2017, Wimbledon, women's tennis, Gabrine Muguruza of Spain beats Venus Williams 7-5, 6-0 for her second Grand Slam.
I'm going to guess that first name is Garbiñe. I forget what the name of that accent mark over top of the N turns that into like a y sound, I think.
Okay.
Garbiñe Muguruza.
Okay, of Spain.
Yeah.
2018 FIFA World Cup at Lusinki Stadium, Moscow, Russia. Former captain Dieter Deschamps, I have no idea, becomes the third man to win the event as a player and coach as France beats Croatia 4-2.
There you go.
A lot of French today. Happy Bastille Day.
Yeah, I mean, it's only appropriate, right?
Happy Bastille Day.
So who do you like?
Probably Jim Thorpe.
Yeah, that's the right call. One thing you liked.
I played a card game last week. We had our cabinet retreat last week, and we played a card game to close out one of our days, just for some group bonding. Mm-hmm. We played a game called Flip 7, and we had a blast. Okay. It was a lot of fun. It was a press your luck game if you've ever played it. If you've ever played a press your luck and you're trying to get 7 cards out and you get a certain number of points if you do that, it's a lot more complicated than that. But the game is like $7.80 on Amazon.
Hey, how about that?
Flip 7.
Flip 7. Okay. All right. So I'm going to go with a show that I've started watching that I feel like I'm surprised I haven't come across this before. It's called Person of Interest.
I've heard of this.
And I started watching it before I was a few episodes in before I realized it's a J.J. Abrams show.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, I knew the guy from Lost, Ben from Lost, is in it.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Main character. One of the main characters, yeah. Yeah.
Interesting.
I really enjoy him. He's got a certain lane that he works in, but he does it really well.
Like the actor or J.J. Abrams?
No, well, I'm talking about the actor.
Okay.
But,
unassuming looking guy who's usually very devious.
Yeah, and highly intelligent. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, the other main character is Jim Caviezel.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So I found it interesting. You know, it's at first it starts off and you're like, oh, this show just feels like it's just what I'll say is episodic, meaning that every episode is self-contained. It's wrapped up at the end and you're like, oh, okay. But then you get a little further and you realize, okay, there are some overarching sort of like story arcs that extend well beyond just individual episodes. And again, classic J.J. Abrams. There's the sort of like, oh, there's a little bit of mystery to this. And like, you know, who is this person really? They present like this, but they're actually not like that. Or like, are they good or bad or complicated? They're complex. Like J.J. Abrams really likes the complex characters.
He sure does.
In terms of not being able to pigeonhole into good, bad, and nothing in between.
Yeah.
So that is my one thing I liked. All right, John, we have talked about your wife's pregnancy. We've talked about my eye. We've talked about the New York Metropolitans. We have talked about pastors using AI. We have talked about Jim Thorpe. We have talked about Flip 7. And we've talked about Person of Interest. So I think, by definition, we have covered our various and sundry topics. And all that's left to say is, until next time, the Lord bless y'all real good.
Later.